Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. We made it to Friday. How about that? Made it to Friday, the end of another week. Let's see what we're dealing with today. You probably already know if you've been following along. Today is the 8th of April. Our moon sign, it's not even anywhere close to Aries. We're past that. We're now in Taurus as of 1:10 a.m. Taurus, an earth sign. Our sun sign is a fire sign, and it is Aries. So we have Aries, the sun, right here, Aries, the sun, the moon, Taurus, fire, earth, fire, earth. Okay? Fire sign, as we know, the conscious mind, ideas expressing themselves and then being organized by the emperor who organizes all things. The Hierophant, though, the unconscious mind, that's the spiritual teacher, reminding us the Hebrew letter here, va, means nail or hook, and it reminds us that we have to hook the spiritual on with the physical. Okay? That's the whole secret, because if we don't do that, if we just think that we're here in the physical and that's it, kind of problematic, don't you think? Because then we are trapped. And that's the whole idea, to be trapped in this body, not have any place to go. But thanks to the efforts and the tremendous challenge that Yeshua went through, he was able to show us how we get out of this. We have to hook together that spiritual. We have to hook it in, bring it down to who we are. We have to express that into the world, you know. And if we do that, it makes a big, big difference. So Taurus the Bull is very significant, very important that we understand that. Now that 1:10 a.m. is when Taurus became the moon sign. 8:41 before the show is over, it's going to be in conjunction with Mercury, having a communication. Mercury's all about communication. Here's our Mercury right over here, communicating. Communication of what? Communication of the ideas of Taurus. Okay, the ideas of Taurus, the ideas of the bull, the ideas of the physical world, appreciating the physical things, the ideas of communicating, because Mercury is the messenger of the gods, communicating that which is important for the physical reality as brought down from the higher reality. Okay, Mercury the messenger right there. I have a nice good communication with the moon. And then tonight, 6:26 p.m., sextile between Aries, or between Taurus, the moon, and Neptune. Neptune basically says we need to get a new perspective on things. We're looking at things one way, that's great. Let's look at them another way, flip ourselves upside down, see if we see something else we're missing. The moon phase is now 2.1%. It's making its way up to a full moon. Yesterday we had that new moon. We're just a little more than 24 hours past the actual new moon phase. Our full moon will be on the 21st of April. 2 weeks from now. It takes 2 weeks to go from a full to a new and a new to a full. Today in the Jewish calendar is the 29th of Adar 2, 29 Adar. It's the last day of this month. So tomorrow begins a new month, month of Nisan. So things are changing there. And the daily thought for today is, as soon as it gets there, I'm going to let you know. It's going rather slow. There we go. Okay. Daily thought, the aura. The aura is the thing that shines off of us. It's our energy field. As the atmosphere envelops our planet, so your thoughts surround you. Every conscious thought, every utterance of your lips, every interaction with your world is released into an aura that surrounds you. Through your aura, all life, all blessing, all that shines down from above must pass. An aura of beauty receives beauty. An aura of love receives love. An aura of life and joy is channeled for unbound light. You are the master of that aura. Only you have the power to transform your thoughts at any moment from dissonance to harmony, your words from bitter to sweet, your deeds from death to life, and so too your entire world. On the Dreamspell Oracle, it is a 6-tone day. Today the kin is the dog, white dog, all about love and loyalty. We are still in the span of these 10 galactic activation portal days. So over the weekend, we'll be feeling them as well on into next week. So this is an intense phase here on this particular calendrical system. The phrase for today of the white rhythmic dog is I organize in order to love, balancing loyalty. I seal the process of heart with the rhythmic tone of equality. I'm guided by my own power doubled. Space weather, the solar wind is currently 359.6 kilometers per second. Planetary index 1 right now. However, we've got a storm on the way going all the way up to a 5. This is a scale that goes up to 9, so we're going well past the halfway point to 5. We have a chronal hole on the left-hand side making its way inward. We have a few slits in here that are going to be sending some wind our way next week. M-class flare possibility is up to 5%. Will stay that way over the next 24 hours. M-class flare or X-class is also low. It's at 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity in the mid-latitude seems to be subsiding. We're going from 35 down to 20, and the upper latitudes from 55 to 25. So things are slowing down at the moment, but with this storm coming in, things will certainly get back up to speed. And finally, looking at the sky tonight, here's what we're going to see. We've got our moon, a little sliver right there, the moon. Mercury's going to be off to the right-hand side, straight up above the moon, a little bit to the right, the Pleiades. Left of the Pleiades, we have Taurus. Okay, looking west in the twilight, use your thin crescent moon as your guidepost to Mercury, as shown to the right. So we're looking for Mercury to the right. Jupiter this evening is just 1/10 of a degree north of 5th magnitude Chi Leonis. Binoculars show the star looking like an out-of-the-place moon of Jupiter. Okay. And there you have it. That is cosmic weather. That's what we're dealing with today. We've got fire of Aries. So we've got these ideas that we're expressing, ideas that we're organizing, gathering together. But we need to remember the spiritual part. The Hierophant wants us to hook those ideas with the spiritual world. We're not here on an island. We're not here by ourselves. We're here because somehow or another in the history of all things, we ended up here. There were those who came before us, not just talking about in this particular lifetime of the earth as we know it, but prior to when we've been here. You know, the recorded history we have at the present moment is 6,000 years. It takes us back to Sumer. That's what the Bible history is. However, we know that planetary history goes back much further. So we need to go back much further in time as far as our thought process to understand that there is something out there a little bit more than what we've been told. All right? All right. UFO news is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. UFO news, first story. This takes place up by the space station. If the space station is up, unless the space station is down somewhere, then that's just where it is. But either way, out by the space station, we have an image here. Out in the distance, Street Cap 1 found this Street Cap 1 finds a lot of UFOs out there. It says this UFO found by Street Cap 1 shows a solid tubular object that just suddenly appears on the horizon. The object moves towards the space station, then matches speed with it, then zooming away in the opposite direction. Very rare to see how a UFO moves when near the ISIS. Okay. Excuse me, the ISS. Sorry, I just mispronounced that. Uh-oh, error. Error. Moving on. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Multiple unidentified flying objects over Mesa, Arizona, the 6th of April. There they are. 6 objects over the skies of Mesa, Arizona. The witness says, I walked into my bedroom, opened the window, and saw a strange group of lights hovering low in the western sky. Never seen anything like it before. I went into the kitchen, got my cell phone, went outside to try to film the event. I could see the lights out in the distance, but I have a block wall and the lights were low and close to the horizon. I climbed down to a chair to get a better view. My security lights were on and disturbed the darkness, but the lights were still clearly visible. I tried to hold my phone over my head and record the event. I watched the lights in a formation of sorts, but not really a rigid formation. There was some drifting. The light seemed to be slowly headed away from me towards the west. I observed an object cross the path of the lights and can't tell if it was one of the lights or an airplane or helicopter. One light seemed to fade and then came back to the original brightness. I heard no sound, probably because of distance from me, and I cannot estimate how far away they were. I called my daughter. She was driving at the time. I did not see anything. The lights slowly faded in the distance and then was gone. Called the local Fox News station, asked if anyone had seen or reported anything, and no. All right, so looks like we might have some video here. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm not sure if that's part of the video or if that's what that is, but that just might be the video loading. Yeah, I'm going to guess that that wasn't it, folks. That wasn't it.
I don't know if you could see those lights back here.
Okay.
The strangest thing.
There's some lights way back here. It's hard to see in this video. Right there. All right. Video link's available. You can check it out. But we're moving on. This story here is about a New Zealand resident who says a UFO changed his life. A Gritchen resident's former disbelief in claims of UFO sightings has been changed forever by what he saw on Argyll Road. He woke about 12:30 a.m. with a thud that he imagined was made by a cat. Jason saw a greenish light hovering near the Kamai Ridge. The photo of Comet Lovejoy taken November 2/15. Okay. I was looking out our lawn when I noticed a flickering and greenish colored light moving quickly across the horizon before coming to a sudden stop in the southwesterly direction, which appeared to be somewhat towards Kaimai Range, says Jason Hurley. Finding this unusual, I ran, grabbed my wife, who also witnessed the object hovering. The couple observed the object for what seemed like 15 minutes. He says it remained hovering in one position until it moved from right to left and left to right. Finally, it stopped with the light brightened, and extremely quickly it took off straight up and out of sight with no noise. It went from the horizon straight up out of sight within a quarter of a second. Says Jason, I'm not quite sure what kind of man-made object can go that fast vertically. None, I guess. He couldn't get a picture with his phone because it wouldn't pick up, the camera being probably too dark for the camera to see it. There's nothing like I've ever seen before. The UFO itself made no sound whatsoever. I'm sure other people awake at this hour may have seen it, as it was quite distinct and unusual. I didn't believe in things, but now after seeing what I've just seen, I certainly have a different opinion. The unidentified flying object, or UFO, in its most general direction, is any apparent anomaly in the sky that is not identifiable as a known object or phenomena. All right, here we have an image. This one could be fake. You're going to need to look at this one closely, but this one says this alien was caught and then imprisoned back in 2008. He's caught on a camera. Okay, here's our little alien being. Doesn't seem too pleased in there. It says the video first surfaced on a Chinese video sites in 2008 and since has been all over the site everywhere. It shows a captured alien in a room with security cam footage of the interior. The alien is clearly a prisoner and attempts to loosen a window, but is disturbed by a person when a person opens a door behind him. He couches down to be less threatening, and then somebody places a pan of food inside the room and leaves. Now, there are other parts of this footage, about 4 to 5, but over the years they've disappeared. No one has been able to prove this footage is not authentic, so it's passed off as the important test, the test of time. I wonder where the poor guy is today. Probably handed off to the government of one country to America in hopes of getting favors. All right, let's just check this out for a little bit. So what do you think? Does this look real? If it isn't real, it's a really good job of animating, because it certainly looks real. However, in this day and age, we know with the availability of the software that things like this can be made and done, so it is quite possible this is a fake, but it does look pretty good. Does look pretty good. All right, the link's available so you can check it out. See what you think. There he is, going to sit back down again. Okay. All right, there we have it. There's an alien locked away in the room. Next, and last story here, 50 years ago, one politician had the backbone to make UFOs a political issue. 50 years ago, soon-to-be President and then Representative Gerald R. Ford changed the conversation about UFOs in a very permanent way. In 1966, a growing number of reported sightings of unidentified flying objects were coming out of Michigan. Nationally, people were concerned. Being the representative of the state's 5th district, Ford shared concern about the so-called and called Congress to conduct a congressional inquiry into the matter. UFOs were getting a lot of media attention, and Ford didn't shy away from the spotlight. He issued a pre-hearing press release making the case for government transparency and calling out a prominent astronomer, J. Allen Hynek, as flippant. Ford proposed that either the science and the aeronautics community of the armed services of the White House schedule UFO hearings and invite testimony from both of the executive branch and the government of some of the persons who claim to have seen UFOs. Political speaking, he was all in. Now, it's important to remember that this is 1966. We're talking Cold War, post-Cuban Missile Crisis, hide under your desk in the event of a nuclear attack America. The stuff wasn't funny, it was weird and frightening. When Ford called for a formal congressional inquiry, he lent a degree of credibility to loose rumors, but he also calmed public panic. His commitment to transparency on the parts of the UFO of the Air Force and the government sent a clear message. The government won't hide hard truths. Ford didn't get his congressional inquiry, but he did get a major report from the University of Colorado and the Air Force Project Blue Book, which was responsible for investigating UFO sightings. This Project Blue Book investigation lasted for a little over 3 years before it was terminated in 1969. According to a fact sheet distributed by the U.S. Air Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, the decision to discontinue the UFO investigations was based on evaluation of a report prepared by the University of Colorado entitled Scientific Study of Unidentified Flying Objects, a review of the University of Colorado's report by the National Academy of Sciences, past UFO studies and Air Force experiences investigating UFO reports during the 50s, the 40s, and the 60s. So what did it find? Between 47 and 69, Project Blue Book had 12,618 reports of UFOs, 700 of one which were deemed unidentified. Many were explained away as meteorological events, classified test flights, weather balloons, and things of that nature. Those that remained unidentified apparently lacked sufficiently compelling evidence to keep Project Blue Book afloat. The distributed U.S. Air Force document goes on to state, as a result of these investigations and studies, the experience gained from investigating UFO reports since 1948, the conclusions of Project Blue Book are that no UFO reported, investigated, and evaluated by the Air Force has ever given an indication of threat to our national security. And two, there has been no evidence submitted or discovered by the Air Force that sightings categorized as unidentified represent technological advances or principles beyond the range of present-day scientific knowledge. And three, there has been no evidence indicating that the sightings categorized are unidentified are extraterrestrial vehicles. Okay, so it says, even though the Air Force hung up its tinfoil hat, civilians continue to investigate. Today's organizations like MUFON exist to catalog and track UFO sightings. Okay, so interesting article. Ford tried to get this out there. So when you hear someone like Hillary Clinton say that she's going to get this released, all we could do is laugh, because she's not going to get it released. Hillary is just doing whatever she can do to get herself elected, which means telling people she's going to do something that she can't do. Remember, her husband tried to do it. Other presidents have talked about it. It's not a subject that she has any info to. She's just trying to get the people of America to think that she does. So if you believe in what Hillary's telling you, I don't know what to tell you, because this woman's been lying. And if you keep believing the lies, then, well, good luck to you. That's all I could say. At a certain point in time, we have to stop believing lies and the liars who tell those lies. And when we do that, I'm pretty certain we're going to be a much better country. I may be wrong. Maybe we're better off to believe the liars and follow the liars and the deceivers. But I tend to think that if we follow people who are telling the truth, we might be better off. Maybe it's just me. But anyway, moving on. Let's jump away. I'll be back. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise! It's time to demand the truth.
Okay, time to demand the truth. Patriots arise. Patriots arise. Are there patriots out there? I certainly hope so, because if not, we're screwed. Okay, let's have a little fun. Let's throw a few current event stories out there. See what's going on here. The first story, Obama continues his apology tour. Obama jokes about SCOTUS, Supreme Court Justice, person he's going to pick, his nominee. He says, yeah, he's a white guy. What a comedian this guy is, huh? During a question-and-answer session at the University of Chicago Law School, President Obama joked that he is sorry his Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland is white. After talking about the changes he's made to transform the federal court system from a diversity standpoint, Obama said, and so when I look at Merrick Garland, that was a person that, the difference between the Supreme Court is that it's just a handful of seats come up at any given time. Now, I appointed a Latino woman and another woman right before that. So, yeah, he's a white guy. But he's really an outstanding jurist. Sorry. He is. I think that's important, he added. So, leave it to Obama. Mr. Diversity out there, and then he criticizes the guy for being white. But it got me thinking. Obama's out there. He's apologizing. I figure, maybe I should do some apologizing, too. So, I'm going to start off by apologizing to the world for Obama. I'm going to apologize that we brought this on you because here in the United States we haven't been paying attention and this is what we've loosed on the world. I apologize to you for this mistake because it is truly a mistake. Now, to the black people, I want to apologize to you because you've been fooled into thinking that Obama is black. Let me bring this up to you here just to kind of clarify a little bit. Uh-oh. Apparently somebody didn't like that story, and so it just got jumped away real quick. But have no fear. It will be back up momentarily. While it does that, I'm going to play a song here.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Underground is where they live. In the bases that our secrets live. We're not.
All right, I think we're on track here. But we'll find out momentarily when I click over what happens. Okay. Barack Hussein Obama, Arab American, only 6.25% African. What? Barack Hussein Obama is not half black. If elected, he would be the first Arab American president, not first black president. Barack Hussein Obama is 50% Caucasian from his mother's side, 43.7% Arabic, and 6.25% African Negro from his father's side. While Barack Hussein Obama's father was from Kenya, his father's family was mainly Arab. His father was only 12.5% African Negro and 87.5% Arab. Okay, go on and go on. So, Obama himself isn't even black. 6.25. There was a man, his name was Martin Luther King. He once made a statement that he had a dream that he would see the day when people would be judged. He was talking about blacks. They would be judged for the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Fast forward to 2016, actually fast forward to 2008, and millions of black Americans run to vote for Obama simply because his skin color is dark. And they've been fooled into believing that he's like one of them, when in actuality, half of him is white. That's right. Half of him is white. So he just apologized for that guy being white. He should be apologizing for himself being half white. And again, he's more Arab than he is black. So Black community, I must apologize to you because you've been lied to again by Obama. You've been lied to again by the Democrats. They've lied to you over the years. They were the ones who brought you slavery. They were the ones who brought you the KKK. They brought all the hatred against you. For some reason, your community keeps going back and wanting to be part of their group. Apparently, you enjoy the slavery and the type of oppression that they bring, so you keep going back for more. And now here's the latest one. What a slap in your face. 6.25% of him is black, and yet you think he's your first black representative. Oh, my friends, my friends. Now, we should also probably apologize, or I should probably also apologize to the transvestite community for Michelle Obama. We'll leave it at that. Now, what else should we apologize about? Well, we should probably also apologize to the gay community because we know Obama's gay. And the reason I'm apologizing there is because, well, apparently he's too afraid to come out of the closet in public, so he just hides it, does it subtly. Now, why is that? Is he ashamed that he's gay? Seems rather bizarre or weird, but that's what's going on with the president. I can go on and think of apologies. You know who we should apologize to? Jackasses. Because jackass is another name for a donkey, and, well, Obama's really kind of taken the cake there, and he's the biggest jackass there is. So we should apologize to the jackasses for him because he's taken representation over who and what you're about. Bottom line is, I'm not a fan of Obama. I'm not a fan of the things he says. I think he's one of the most divisive presidents we've had. As you could see from the various things I've shown you here, he's not who he claims to be in any way, shape, or form. 6.25% of him is black, and yet blacks think that he's one of them. He's not one of you at all. He's mainly Arab, and he's mainly white. So for all of you who thinks that this is a black president, guess again, he's not a black president. He just has darker skin than white, but nonetheless, he himself is not a black man. Okay? So, enough of that nonsense there. You already know we've dealt with him for years. Apologizing again to the world because we've loosed this Obama over the world and you're having to deal with his nonsense and all the rules. But fortunately, in America, we're going to get things reversed here once we get somebody in that's going to do the job the right way. Because this man just doesn't know how to do his job. He spends more time golfing and doing other things. So I'm going to move on past there. Let's talk about some other things because there's really no point in talking about that guy. He's just a smug individual who cares nothing about the American people. He certainly doesn't care about you black folks. I know you think he does, but once you realize that, then you're going to find out and understand the truth of who he is, that he doesn't care about you at all. If he did, he'd be doing more to help you, but he's not. Okay? But he's not. Now, look at couple other stories here. This story says science relies on computer modeling. So what happens when it goes wrong? Okay, just for you to know, this is just models. These aren't real. Okay? Modeling three bodies interacting with each other is harder than it may seem. From the transforming discovery of penicillin to the theories of relativity and quantum mechanics, science progressed with mind-boggling speed even before there were computers. Much of this is down to the robustness of the scientific method. Scientific results are validated by being replicated and extended to other scientists. But the way we do science is changing and now relying increasingly on the computer complex models to understand nature. And it turns out that these models can be nearly impossible to reproduce, meaning an important touchstone of science is being challenged. So what are the real world repercussions of this change and what can we do about it? Well, pre-modern science, known as natural philosophy, was empirical. Empirical science uses past observations to make predictions about the future, which may then be tested. Tycho Brahe, a 16th century Danish astronomer, managed to make accurate and comprehensive observations of the heavens in this way. Modern science, however, is theoretical. Theoretical science also makes predictions, but it derives them from the mathematical models rather than from prior observations. Think of Isaac Newton's laws of motion, such as the inverse square of gravitation. For example, there's an equation describing the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. The equation can be used to build a model, computer model, into which you can just plug certain variables and see how the solution changes. You could just plug the future date and read off position of the Earth on that date. You could also use the same program to model other planetary systems. It's all based on the same mathematics. All you have to do is plug in different masses and various other properties of the bodies involved. Such mathematical equations are great when they are available, but often they are not. For example, we know that there is no simple equation that solves the so-called three-body problem, which describes three bodies orbiting around and influence each other by gravitational forces like the moon, the earth, and the sun. Much of the current science deals with even more complicated systems, and similarity lacks solutions. Such models have to be computational, describing how a system changes from one instant to the next, but there's no way to determine the exact state at some time in the future other than by simulating its evolving in this way. Weather forecasting is a familiar example. Until the advent of computers in the 50s, it was impossible to predict weather faster than it actually happened. Current science typically consists of devising a mathematical model that describes a complicated system. When turning into this computational simulation and running the simulation to make predictions in order to validate the model. When modeling fails, modeling is used across scientific fields ranging from astrophysics and climate prediction to bioinformatics and economics. But there is increasing debate about the fact that the science is difficult to validate through reproduction. It turns out that simply describing experimental methods in words is not enough. That's partly because natural languages such as English are simply too vague for describing computations precisely. There is, after all, a reason why programmers use programming languages. One of the biggest challenges in software development is in converting vague requirements into precise specifications of behavior. Humans, even scientists, are all fallible. Transforming any information into a program almost always and invariably introduces bugs. For example, many scientists depend on data exploration tools such as spreadsheets, which are designed for ease of use and not for robustness. It is very easy simply to sum up all the wrong range of cells in a spreadsheet without getting any warnings. This was one of the methods flaws in the U.S. Republican Party to base their pro-austerity policies. Similarly, a recent study of 15,770 spreadsheets were made public during the investigation of the U.S. corporation Enron showed that 24% of these had at least a formula with bugs in it. So basically, what are they going on about here? They're basically saying that they're having a hard time calculating how the pictures that they have are real. It's because the pictures are painted, because NASA hires more graphic artists than they do actual scientists. So these graphic artists paint pictures. And then NASA's trying to now explain how these pictures or the images that are represented in these pictures actually exist. And guess what? Having a hard time doing it. Why? Because these are pictures. These are paintings. This isn't the real Earth. This isn't the real. This is a picture. So science is trying to say, how is this happening? Picture, just like the pictures we've seen of the moon are not real pictures, but they're paintings. Just like the other images of the Earth we've seen are not real. They're paintings. Is the sun really 93 million miles away? Go outside today and look at the sun. Think it's really 93 million miles away? Seems to be a lot closer. All right, here's another instance. NASA discovers a behemoth black hole in an unlikely place. Spotted by Hubble Space Telescope and the Gemini Telescope in Hawaii, the find is important because it suggests that the monster object is more common than previously thought. Until now, supermassive black holes, these are roughly 10 billion times bigger than our sun, have only been found at the cores of very large galaxies. The black hole was found in a massive galaxy catchily named NGC 1600, which NASA describes as a sparsely populated area of the universe. Located around 200 million light years from Earth, the newly discovered black hole is also 10 times bigger than science expected based on its location. It also suggests that the black hole reached its massive size by merging with another black hole a long time ago. The image you see up here of this black hole says right here, this is a computer simulated image. And it shows a supermassive black hole. Now, remember, we just did an article about the computer-related images and says they're having problems, didn't they? But here you are. One of these problematic computer images that they have, taken by the Hubble telescope. And it's an image that is a mere 200 million light years away. So, we're able to get information from 200 million light years away. But down here on Earth, we have trouble calling from one continent to the next at times because the cell phone reception isn't good enough. Huh. But don't worry, we do have a picture. We have a computer model picture right here. And since they didn't put the little notification down here, most people will look at this and say, look, man, this is real. This is what the Hubble telescope took. This is real. You know why? Because it's got electrolytes in it. That's why. Okay. Moving right along. For those of you who don't remember electrolytes, Idiocracy, remember the movie? If not, go watch that this weekend. You'll laugh and you'll laugh and you'll laugh. And then you may feel yourself not laughing anymore because you'll realize that the events in the movie and the behaviors are actually taking place now. And you realize we are in the movie Idiocracy as we speak. All right, researchers find Siberian unicorn fossil fragments in Kazakstan and say the creature lived much longer than thought. Much longer than thought. Okay, researchers have found fossil fragments that indicate the so-called Siberian unicorn last walked the Earth a mere 29,000 years ago. The updated timeline is a huge jump since scientists thought the creature died around 350,000 years ago. But wait, the Earth is only 6,000 years old. That's what some people think. But wait, our Bible only goes back 6,000 years. But, this goes back 350,000 years ago. That's a whole lot further. Even 29,000 years ago. It means this thing's been around much longer than recorded history. 4 to 5 times longer, almost 5 times longer. Siberian unicorns did have a horn in their heads. The actual creature's head, though, stood between the horse and the rhinoceros families, according to early descriptions of the animal published in the journal Nature, 1878. The nose of the creatures were much narrower than a lot of the rhinoceroses, though while the eyes were larger, the creatures likely had a shaggy coat of hair. Right. Moving on, leaving the article for you. This here says the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. I know that you're not going to be able to read that text, so let's... When Moses had spoken every precept to his people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and goats with water and scarlet and hyssop and sprinkled the book over all the peoples. All right. And anyway, it says the following is account of the late amateur astrologer Sarkwan, the discovery of that very thing. In August 1908, Ron Wyatt was walking through the Gordon's Calgary encampment in the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, talking with local authority about Roman antiquities. Without warning, Ron's left hand pointed to a site there, and his mouth said, "That's Jeremiah's grotto, and the Ark of the Covenant is in there." Even though these words had come from his own mouth and his own hand had pointed, he had not consciously said or done these things. The man with him, quite out of character, also really strangely said, "That's wonderful. We want to excavate, and then we'll grant you a permit, put up the place in a stay, and even furnish you with your meals." Ron Wyatt knew what a supernatural event, but he also knew that it was not about supernatural events originate from God. Okay. So anyway, interesting article about that. I also brought up a couple of articles here about the actual Ark of the Covenant, what it was. It says the As a general rule, Judaism rejects physical manifestations of spirituality, preferring instead to focus on the actions and beliefs. Instead, the story of Judaism begins with Abraham, who, according to the ancient sources, shattered the idols that were a conventional method of religious observance at the time. Worship of graven images is harshly condemned throughout the Torah, and perhaps the greatest sin of the Israelites collectively committed was the construction of the golden calf, intended to serve as a physical intermediary between them and God. Today, Jews do not venerate any holy relics or man-made symbols, but in the history of the Jewish people, there was one exception to this rule. One man-made object was considered intrinsically holy, and that was the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, I'm going to leave that for you. And here's another article. This is over at Wikipedia. The Ark of the Covenant, also known as the Ark of Testimony, has a wooden chest clad with gold containing the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, as well as, according to the various texts, a pot of manna. Manna, which is the thing came down from heaven that kept people alive while they wandered through the desert. All right, so there you go. There's the Ark of the Covenant. Hopefully we'll find it. A lot of these spiritual relics and things of the past coming to the forefront because we are having some confirmations that what happened in the past is real. We're also finding out that the stories of these events aren't quite what we were told, so not everything is as it appears. All right, here's an article. Switching gears here over to health. New cannabis capsule is so effective that it's replacing big pharma painkillers. Well, there is a growing interest in natural remedies and numerous medicines, now based on natural sources. Big Pharma neglects the dangerous side effects and is continuously producing various kinds of drugs which are high in harmful chemicals. You probably heard that cannabis can be significantly effective in the treatment of menstrual cramps. So the Fiora relief company, has invented a vaginal suppository which can replace Vicodin, Midol, and ibuprofen, and is based on aromatic cocoa butter. The vaginal suppository is also cautiously created in order to enhance the abilities of cannabis to alleviate pain and relax the muscles, at the same time to prevent the psychotropic property, which means being high. All around the world, cannabis is commonly used in order to naturally relieve menstruation symptoms. The goal of the company is to use modern extracting procedures for potency and purity standardization. In order to create a safe experience which can be used by all women, they extract the flowers of cannabis, which do not contain pesticides, in order to use its active ingredients in the microbial-free process, combine them with an exact dosage, 60 milligrams of tetracannabinol, THC, and 10 milligrams of cannabinoid oil. This is claimed to not make the user high. The vaginal suppository contains CBD and THC, the 2 active cannabinoid components. As soon as these are introduced to the body, they trigger the activation of particular cannabinoid receptors in the pelvic area. All right, more to the article, but again, you get the gist of it. Just another example of science not fully understanding the health benefits that nature has to offer, and that nature itself has benefits that we should be knowing about because they would be beneficial to us by knowing them. Okay, so we could learn some things from nature, and we have to be careful not to get caught up in the man-made ways. Remember, when it comes to big pharmaceuticals and big pharmaceutical companies, there's no money in the cure. They have to find a way to keep you hooked on their drugs. They're just drug dealers is all that they are. Okay, let's move on. 11 things you should remind yourself daily. Today, here and now is where your life is. So here's 11 things. Let me backtrack a bit. Life is made up of days, and if you focus on making each day beautiful, appreciating, enjoying, and loving what is in the end, you will have created a beautiful life. It's that easy. Here's 11 things you should remind yourself daily, things that you will probably bring more sunshine into your life and more peace into your heart. First of all, this moment is your life. I'm just going to read through the 11. 2. There is a time for everything. 3. Each day is a new beginning, each morning a new life. 4. Nothing in life is yours to keep. 5. You are never given more than you can handle. 6. You were born with wings, learn to use them and fly. 7. What other people think of you is none of your business. It's a good one. 8. Never neglect your path for another. 9. It's better to be alone than in bad company. 10. You are a human being, not a human doing. And 11. Who you are is enough. Okay, so very good points. 11 good points of things for us to remember, to know. That brings us to a channeled message today. This comes from Gabriel. Let's hear what Gabriel has to say.
Archangel Gabriel Daily Message tilde Thursday, April 7, 2016 by Shelley Young. Many of you have asked, how do I love myself? You can become more loving to yourself in many ways, but most important of all, it means becoming a safe person for yourself. Are you a safe person for yourself to be exposed to? If not, what can you do to become so? A good place to start is with kindness, consistency, encouragement, and inclusion. Tilde Archangel Gabriel.
All right. There you go. Good message. And finally, our meditation for today. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another breath. And exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. Now, just imagine yourself seated in a wide open space. A wide open space. And from this wide open space, you can observe all of reality around you. And as you observe reality around you, you notice that the things that you see and experience outside of you are all reflections of the things that are inside of you. And so you focus on forming an image in your mind's eye, and as you do, you notice that that image then projects itself outside into the world. And as you practice this over and over, you find that you are able to create into this reality the things that you desire simply by focusing on them, imagining them in your mind's eye, and then simply through your intent and desire to see them in the world, you reflect them outward. And with this, you realize the challenges there are of bringing things into the world that are unwanted, simply from errant thoughts. And so we understand the responsibility we have by putting into the world the things that we want to create and avoiding the things we wish to not create. And so we go through the world observing our thoughts to see what they are, understanding that the level of change takes place at this level of thought. for it is where we put the movie in that plays out in the world around us. So as we go forth this weekend, let us just observe what it is we're doing. Observe the words that we speak. Observe the thoughts that we have, the feelings that we feel. And in this observation of what we think, what we feel, and what we express, we learn more about ourselves. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, thank you for the blessings of this day. Thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to look at the world from different perspectives, that we might see the truth, that we might see through the illusions of life and to the reality of all that exists prior to this material world. So let the subconscious mind continue on this journey of observation, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. Alright, my friends, that's it for today. It's it for the whole week. A lot of information passed through, a lot of things to go check out. Look at the links of the stories this week. There's some videos there so you can check it out. Otherwise, just have a great weekend. Observe what's going on in your reality, in the world around you, because that's very important. This world is set up as a world of illusion. We need to learn to be able to see what is real and what isn't. And what's real is in here. We go inside, and that's where we create, because that's where we're connected. The hook, remember, the Hierophant. We're hooked together to that spiritual realms, and that is the movie we should be playing into the world. But we don't do that because we're not aware. And so we put other things into the world. Just imagine if we were all aware what we were doing and more responsible with the way in which we did it, the world would be a whole different place. We can get there because we are the ones we've been waiting for. All we have to do is change our ways, and one person can affect another, and so on and so on and so on. The power's in our hands, my friends. We have to be willing to make the changes, because they're not necessarily going to happen on their own. It's called free will. That's what our decisions are all about. That's it. I will be back next week. Until then, have an awesome weekend. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.